Live from Studio G, somewhere in an abandoned room in the Applied Medical campus. It's inside the G League.
What's up, guys? Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's Friday, and it's the Friday before a long weekend, so I'm very, very excited.
So what are we doing? What are we doing on a Friday night after work, recording such a podcast?
I got a meeting invite, and I didn't really read it, and I'm just here now. Maybe I shouldn't have accepted it, but we're here.
We're here because it turns out we have 44 listeners from our episode 1. I'm very happy and surprised. Well, to be honest, how many times did you listen to the podcast, Scott?
0. I dislike hearing my own voice. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion to not like hearing your own voice, so I account for 0 of the views.
I heard it twice myself just to do, just make sure everything sounded okay. That means that we still had 38 people listen to our podcast, so I figured let's carry this momentum and bring some good, fun content for our players.
I mean, if you think about it, G, that's half the league listening, if that's like 30 people.
That's true. We have 56 people in our league, so that's pretty good, right? So let's go ahead and go over some of the topics that we have for today. And the first is, how are you doing with the scoreboard and the shot clock, Scott?
It's an adventure. I'm so glad that we have the shot clock. Let me just start by saying that.
Yeah, a lot of people been requesting for it in the past seasons.
Yeah, and there are definitely situations in games, not all games, right? But most games, at some point you want to have the shot clock so a team can't stall out the game, right? But during the mid part, I'm struggling to keep up. There are 2 buttons on the controller.
Yeah.
You gotta press both in the right order at the right time. Otherwise, Ace will yell at you.
Yeah, for those that doesn't know, these are 2 different devices. So Scott is having to control 2 different, completely separate controllers to control the scoreboard and the shot clock. So thank you so much, Scott. I don't know what we're going to do without you. You're the most versatile staff member who's able to take good care of it. So thank you so much. And for the players, I would appreciate you guys for continuous patience with us as we get used to this. But yeah, I just want to make sure that we show our appreciation for Scott for taking care of it this season.
I mean, listen, if y'all are interested in learning the shot clock and the scoreboard, feel free to reach out to G.
Yeah, if you guys are really good at Nintendo Switch and able to control 2 controls at a time, hey, reach out to us. We'd love to get some help. It's unfortunate that we are also dealing with injuries. I'm going to start with Jordan. We covered it in our article on the website, but we had an update from Captain Josh that he'll be out for 4 to 6 weeks. We're hoping that it will be less. It looks like it's a high ankle sprain. Jordan is such a great player. It was so good to have him back in Season 6. So shout out to Jordan. We hope that you return very soon. Speaking of key players missing, we're gonna jump ahead and talk about the some of the games that was featured on Monday. Red Bulls. I know we covered it in the website a little bit. Looked like they had a lot of players missing. Steven Sales, their best player, they're big. Matthew Pranada and another big, Coleman, was missing. And it was really apparent that they struggled immensely, losing by 30 points. What did you see in that game, Scott?
I saw a lot of threes go in against us. Part of that is good shot making from Starship. Jason went off.
Yes, give him credit for sure.
Sammy was 2 for 3. So obviously, you have to make the shots that are presented to you. But I felt like we were just giving up shots.
A little insider, it's no hidden secret that Red Bulls are wanting to play a big, right? Their style is having big, playing with big in the interior defense. So without that, they had to be more scrappy out in the perimeter, but they just couldn't get it done without their core players. And I think that's a topic we also covered last week about key players being available, the availability factor to this season. So we'll see how the Bulls will be able to recuperate from this next week.
Yeah, agreed. Like, availability is the best ability, especially for the G League. Also, shout out Coleman and Coleman's family had an injury.
Yeah.
I'm glad the injury looks relatively straightforward. So
Yeah,
we hope to see you out there next week, man.
I think everything's gonna be fine. The next game we have Sonics and the Air those balls, and what can you say? What can you say about Scott Majors?
Dude was 14 for 17. He did not miss, and it's kind of insane. Like, looking at the stat sheet at the end of the game, he had missed 1 2-pointer all game. Shot 16, 13, something in that range. Missed 1. So he's already in MVP form.
NBA 2K is like he's like on a turbo mode the whole time. You have that finger on the R1 button the entire time. And it was incredible to watch. It was surreal. Like, I was taking stats for this game, and I was marking down the stats. I was like, at one point, he missed 1 field goal in the first half, shooting 8 out of 9. That was incredible. But you also gotta give a shout out to Dan Hansen, who also had double in this game.
I didn't realize Dan had a double-double. That was probably the quietest double-double I've seen from Dan.
You know what they say, if you're a great player, it seems like everything looks easy, and I think that's what Dan did in this game. He just made things look so easy for his game. How about the Air those balls? Isaac being the first-time captain for the G League, he prepared those guys really well, both physically, in appearance. The jerseys look great.
They look really, really good.
So props to them. For sure, they're gonna win the Star of the Award this season. But they're key players. Franz, Gavin, they all play great. 19 points from both of them. What else did you see from this game that would have been a good takeaway?
I think the ugly stat is in the 3-point shooting. 2 of 25, 8%.
Unreal, yeah.
8%, right? That is not a sustainable number for ATV, and that they won't shoot 8% again all season.
No way.
So
this is such a good shooting team. That was unreal. Like, Kritz is one of the top shooters in the league. Franz is another top shooters of the league. So I don't know what happened in that game. They were running hard from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they just got worn out, but I know for a fact they're gonna return next game. They're gonna shoot the lights out.
So, do you think Sonics got lucky?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's a tough question.
Like, do you think if they play again, like if they had to play 3 games, right?
Right.
Do you think Sonics win 2 of them?
That's a tough call. You're really putting me on the spot, but I still think Sonics would have got it done. I think they would have found a way. Because you can't also dismiss that David and Josh were 0 out of 8 from the 3. And they're also a great shooter. We've seen Josh in scrimmages.
Yes.
He's able to make his open threes, and he's going to find open threes. So for those reasons, as bad as Air those balls shot from the 3, if they match up again, I think Sonics might get it done again. Yeah. In a really close game.
Agreed.
Yeah. Then let's jump next to the games on Wednesday. Straight out of shape and part-time hoopers. Juan was a really great rookie. He really displayed great skill, but what was even more impressive was the stat across the board. If you go look at the box score on the website, you will see 13, 10, 11, 9, 7 and 7. 6 players scoring. Everybody is scoring with efficiency. How are you going to beat this team when they're shooting that well as a team?
Yeah, like Jasper and Ish are like the engines for that team to get good quality looks. So I don't know. Like, you have to stop the ball from getting into the key and prevent them from dishing. Seemed like SOS was getting a lot of run out kind of transition
they were
shots.
for sure running. The funny thing about this team, an insider, is that I heard from the source that they took a screenshot, and we'll talk about this a little later. Screenshot of what the Ski Payless. I wonder who that is. I wrote an article, prediction article, and then they pointed out how Ski Payless predicted Marcelo will score 0. And then the source said they showed it to Marcelo, and Marcelo was ready to come to the game. And, just to show, hey, Skip, what you talking about? Hey, Marcelo had 11 points, 9 rebounds, and we're going to have an article coming out. A great moment. Can we talk about that moment?
Yeah, like I saw him lead the break, and I went, oh, he's going to get a nice quality look at the basket. I see the ball go behind his back and like straight into his teammate's hands, and like that was a mind-blowing assist.
Jokic.
Yes.
Jokic. That's all I could think about. And we know Marcelo is athletic, he can run, but I had no idea he could make that kind of dime. Behind the back.
It was like right in the pocket
Yeah.
to his teammate. It was perfect.
So it looks like prediction does affect, or at least it inspires, motivates certain players. We'll talk a little bit more about Skip Payless' article and his predictions, how pretty accurate they were. But let's talk about the opposing team, part-time hoopers led by Nick.
Yeah, this game was a tale of two halves. Part-time hoopers played excellent in the first half. Nick was draining threes.
First half.
Yeah, the first half.
Yeah, I think he made like 3 straight or something like that.
It was something insane. Like they started off real hot, can like 3 or 4 threes, but then they just kind of trailed off in terms of offense in the second half. And I don't know, against straight out of shape with their consistent scoring, I think that's kind of where they faltered.
I mean, but one thing that impressed me about part-time hoopers is their agility, their speed, and how quickly they recover on defense. They do have a lack of size, I think, which became a factor. I think they pointed that out after the game too, that they gave away some of the offensive boards at critical moments. But outside of height, I think part-time hoopers are a really well-rounded team.
Agreed.
And also, Mustafa didn't have his best game. Obviously, afterwards, another insider note, I think he's been traveling a lot for work. He hasn't been playing for a while, but he's a great skilled player, and we see him, coming back, bouncing back strong next week.
One other thing about part-time hoopers is that yes, they are not very big, but what's kind of concerning, at least from my perspective, is that they didn't play fast. Like they were taking their time bringing up the ball. So it's like, how do you manufacture more offense? They could get more in transition with their speedy players.
Interesting. Ethan, that's true in a way. I guess, I saw Ethan running back and forth.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ethan was turning on the Jets.
And obviously we saw Jesse as well. Even though he may not produce a lot on offense, his defense was on point, 3 steals. I kind of pointed that out to him after the game. But you might be right. Maybe on offense, maybe they should consider, speeding up a little bit. Yeah, if this isn't working out for them. Yeah. Before we go on to game 2 from Wednesday, we want to talk about the NBA playoffs. There's a reason for that. Scott, did you have a chance to watch the game 1 against the Knicks and the Pacers?
Very little of it. I've heard whispers and murmurs whenever I show up to scrimmages and preseason stuff.
So before the game, Wednesday game, I had a chance to watch, and when I left, the Knicks were up. And I was listening to the radio on my ride to our game. They're up 17 points. So, and then I had to focus on the G League, keep stats. And after the game was done, I checked the ESPN website. Pacers won. Somehow, Pacers made a giant comeback, down 17 in the fourth quarter. And then when I watched the recap on the YouTube later, it turned out they're down by 9 points with just 1 minute to go. And they still came back and won the game. And the reason why I'm mentioning this NBA playoff game is because it reminded me of how the Raptors and Dirty Dogs went. Because they went to double overtime, and there were some clutch moments in that game.
I'm curious, G. So at least on the NBA side of things, right, before we hop into the G League side, do you think that it's like when a team gives up a 9-point lead in under a minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that more on the leading team that gives it up, or is it better play on the catching up team?
I think for this instance, from what I saw, it was just a better offense. Defense didn't expect all those long-range 3-pointers from Indiana Pacers, to go in, and it happened 3 consecutive times.
Mm.
So I think it was just a crazy offense, and then obviously Pacers got the last shot off. It bounced off the back of the rim and went in. Tyrese Halliburton, and there's nothing that you could prepare for that.
That's
so I
true.
think it was a better offense than a defensive failure. That's what I think. Yeah, and for Raptors and Dirty Dogs, I think it was very interesting, right? It was an interesting, exciting, I think, more game, because Raptors were up 11 points with 12 minutes to go. And if you compare to the NBA, I think it's equivalent to like 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, right? And then 46-42, Raptors are up 33 seconds to go. And you and I were wrapping up, we were like packing and we're ready to go.
Yeah.
But Georges, one of the clutchest player in G League, makes it 3, makes it 46-45. They foul Jonathan, no, and he makes 2 free throws, 48-45. 3 seconds left. Let's go home. But what happens?
You get it to Imran, and he makes the bucket. No, I'm kidding. He gets fouled on the shot.
Imran, another clutch player. By the way, Dirty Dogs has 2 most clutch players.
Agreed.
Yeah, right? Maybe that was the plan for George's drafting. Imran gets fouled by Tamim. 3 free throws. Clutch player. Drains all 3. We're going to overtime.
I feel like it's harder to hit 3 free throws
I know,
than
right?
hitting the 3.
The
for game
nerves,
winner.
right?
Yeah,
The
I agree.
nerves.
You get so much time to think about,
Yeah.
what if I miss
What
this?
if I miss this?
Any one of these misses, it's over.
Overtime, both teams scored 2 points. Georges had a couple opportunities, didn't go in. In double overtime, Tayo makes the first bucket, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the Dirty Dogs, 52-50. And Jonathan Noel and DJ, they draw a foul. Well, Georges missed some shots, and the Dirty Dogs had the foul over the limit, makes 1 pair of free throws, 54-52. Georges still had the chance, misses the shot, and who seals the deal? James Baker makes 2 free throws. Game ends 56-52. Let's talk about James Baker. 17 points, 15 rebounds. Did you expect that from James Baker?
Of course. No, but like James is a great, smart player.
I
And
agree.
So
I agree.
wherever and whenever he's playing, you know that you're going to get good stuff out of him. I think the most surprising part of his game was that he hit 2 threes,
Yes.
and they looked clean throughout the whole way.
I don't know if James has been working on his 3-point shots during the off season or not, but he looked very stable, right? The
Yeah.
stance was right, the form was great, knocked it down 2 out of 4, big time. Big time.
And 5 of 6 free throws. Just the shooting was good for him that day.
Yeah, so Al, I think James needs to be back on the starting roster, or maybe that's Al's master plan to have James, come off the bench and provide that extra offense. So whatever he's been planning for his team, it looked like it really worked out, and they got the first W.
Yeah, the first W for any rookie captain is so important.
Yes. So big shout out to the Raptors and James Baker for their win, and Dirty Dogs played really well, but just came up close. Let's talk about Skip. Payless article, his predictions. Quite scary, close, pretty good, right?
Yeah, I was a little upset at the Skip Payless article saying that it was going to be 60 plus to 30-ish.
Uh-huh.
I was really upset, and then we lost 60
Yeah,
to 30.
30 point, right.
Maybe Skip Payless is right. I shouldn't be that mad.
And he also talked about the impact that Steven Sales is going to have by not being there for the Red Bulls. So that was big time prediction. And then in terms of numbers too, Skip kind of had a little fun with predicting the stats. He predicted Juan to have 12 points, Juan had 13. And the scary good prediction was Ish will have 6, 8, and 5. He had 9, 8, and 5. So quite accurate with that. And then Ken would have 8 points. Ken has 7 points in reality, but the funny thing, how Ken might shuffle his feet and get the turnovers, that actually happened. And then Skip also predicted that Ethan will have 8 points. Ethan turned out to be having 8 points. So Skip Payless, gotta give him props for making pretty good predictions.
Gee, I know you know who writes the Skip Payless stuff.
He's not a good dude, but
Well,
he got some attitude.
Can you reach out to Skip Payless and project him to have us win this week?
Yes.
That'd be nice. Or sorry, not this week, next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Maybe that might work out better for the Red Bulls. Speaking of next week, we will not be having a game. It's a Memorial Day break, so hope you guys enjoy your time off with your family and friends. But there will be scrimmage on Friday, so if you guys don't want to have a long break away from basketball and want to have a little run before your game in June, that's when we return for game 2. A sign-up group text will go out on maybe Wednesday of next week, so please sign up for the scrimmage on Friday. So that covers all the topics that we have today. It's been just me and Scott today. Hopefully Isaac and Jasper will be able to join us next week. But thanks for taking the time to listen to our, sharing our thoughts with you for the league. I'm just gonna end it there because I can't find my phone.
I was like, is he gonna pull out his phone to do the outro music? I was like, do I fill the space? Do it.
That was too long of a bit. Maybe I can find a way to clip it.
Or just put the whole thing in. Just let people find this little Easter egg at the end.
Did we cover everything?